Okay, hello, eighth grade. Time for another one of my screencasts. This one will be on sexual reproduction, and I have Mr. Benham. Most animals pair up or mate with another member of their species to produce young. A male and female come together in a process called sexual reproduction. A single sex cell from the male fertilizes a single sex cell from the female to create a new individual. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But basically, an ovum from the female and a sperm joins with the male. Now, a lot of the animal kingdom has trouble finding a partner. Many animals use sound, scents, called pheromones, or visual displays, or even other devices to attract a mate. Once together, the two may go through a courtship ritual of some kind before mating. And the whole process of leading up to this is all a courtship ritual. Usually, the male displays to the female, trying to impress her. In some species, especially certain types of birds, the two may dance or perform together. So there's all sorts of different courtship rituals. We have, human beings dance together. This spider shows awesome colors. And then if you look up videos of birds of paradise, they have awesome courtship rituals where this bird turns into looks like this and dances around the tree log for the female. This one's showing its big I don't even know what this is. It's a big throat thing, but awesome displays for birds of paradise. In most species, the male leaves the male leaves the female after mating, but some pairs stay together for many years and mate for life, producing new offspring each year. So now, your first set of questions on sexual reproduction. All right, fertilization takes place when a male sex cell, called the sperm, joins with a female sex cell called an ovum. Each ovum can be fertilized by only one sperm. This creates the first cell of a new organism. And that sperm carries traits from the father, and the ovum carries traits from the mother. So that's a way that we get genetic diversity through sexual reproduction. And that new organism grows into an embryo. So millions of sperm are released at once, but only one will break through the surface of the ovum. Now, there's a few different types of fertilization. We have external fertilization, which takes place mostly in water-dwelling animals such as fish and amphibians. The female will lay many eggs containing her ova, and then the male will fertilize them by covering them with sperm. The closer he is to the eggs, the more likely it is that his sperm will fertilize them. A male frog, for example, will grasp the female's body and deposit sperm on the eggs right as she lays them. Now, we also have internal fertilization as well. This takes place inside the female's body. Almost all land animals, such as mammals, are fertilized in this way. The male puts his sperm directly into the female's body, usually through a specialized organ called the penis. Now, here's some more questions for you to answer. A lot of organisms lay eggs. Egg-laying animals are called oviparous. Most reptiles, insects, birds, and fish are oviparous. The eggs may be fertilized externally, or they may result from internal fertilization. There are two main types of eggs. The two main types of eggs are spawn and cleidoic. Most fish and amphibians, such as the frog and fish, produce hundreds of tiny soft eggs called spawn. These often contain young, which do not look like the adults at all. The tiny black dots in this frog spawn are the developing young. Most land animals, such as birds and reptiles, produce a smaller number of cleidoic eggs. In these, an embryo is fed by a food store called a yolk and protected by a hard shell. When the eggs hatch, the young are usually miniature versions of the adult. And here we have a cleidoic egg, and you can see this bird developing, and it has this food store called the yolk inside of it. The embryo will then go ahead and eat the nutrients that are within the yolk. And here are some questions. A lot of animals end up giving live birth. Animals that give birth to live young are described as viviparous. Many animals of this kind are mammals. The baby grows inside the female in a sac called the womb, or uterus. An organ called the placenta feeds the baby inside the womb. After a period of time, the muscles in the female's body contract and the baby is pushed out. The length of time that a baby spends in the womb is called the gestation period. It varies from species to species. Rats have a gestation period of 21 days. Humans, 253 to 301. Elephants, 510 to 730. That's a long time. With sexual reproduction, we have some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages is that we produce genetic variation in the offspring. We get traits from the mother and the father, the male and the female of the species pass on traits. The species can adapt to new environments due to the variation that's passed on, which gives us a survival edge over asexually produced organisms. And a disease is less likely to affect all individuals in the population due to our genetic variation. Now, there are also some disadvantages. Uh, it takes time and energy to find a mate with sexual reproduction, and it is not possible for an isolated individual to reproduce. If you were the last person on Earth, then unfortunately our species would be doomed. So here are some final questions. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and I know you're going to do great on these questions. Thank you.